Bienvenidos a todos ellos. ¿Qué dice diaria Tijuana, Mexico? Welcome to the southern Mexican border. We're going to have a little stream with Dan and John today. And there was nobody on there for that intro. Isn't that something? So we'll go to comments. Let me go to add, invite. We'll copy and we'll paste it. Paste, and I'm going to put that up there. Now that's that is the link to come into the show. However, if you're not Dan or Steve, don't bother linking on it because you'll be sitting in the green room for forever. Okay. John is milling right now, and Dan just called me, so he's going to take some cat videos down, and then he'll be in. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to put fillets in this thing. And you say, fillets over monocoat. Yeah, well, it adds a lot of strength. And I'll be putting them on, and then after they dry, I'll paint them with some duplicolor paint, silver. Should be okay. It'll be fine. And then we'll get the flaps and elevators glued on this thing, and maybe Steve can take it home today. I know he wants to fly it next week, so I get all his batteries, the Dean's connectors soldered on those. So we're good to go there. So what I need to do is get the monocoat iron out, get it fired up, and get the monocoat stuck down real good around where the fillets are. Maybe this tape will work for the fillets. I don't know. Thank God this series is over. That's all I gotta say. Yep, that'll work. Okay, good. Okay, monocoat iron out here. You know, in all honesty, it turned out pretty good for, a crashed airplane. People seem to, they didn't think they'd like the green, but it seemed to be okay. Let me get this put away. I didn't know if I'd like the green either, but that's what I had. It could have been pink. Would have had to figure something out. I wasn't buying nothing for it. Okay, two soldering guns. Okay, we got the iron heating up here. Get rid of these pliers. We're not going to need that shit no more. Now these, let me show you these. These Dean's plugs. This is the arming plug here. It looks like that. If you get yourself a piece of 3/16 brass, these are simple to make. You get one of these male Dean's connectors. Get in there. Get yourself a piece of 3/16 brass, and you cut it. That's probably ½ inch long. It's probably a ½ inch long, and you solder it on the top like that, right in the center. Hey, there's Dan. Okay, let's bring him in. Welcome, Danny Winship. Got them cat videos off?
Yeah. I stream the cat videos to keep the cat entertained.
All right. I just was explaining these arming plugs. So, my car alarm's going off. Shit again.
Don't let that thing fire up in the shop.
What?
Don't let that electric fire up in the shop. My brother-in-law was setting up his airplane that flew across the kitchen.
I already had this running in here. Anyway. Anyway, solder that piece of 3/16 brass that's a ½ inch long and a 1/16 inch thick. You want to get the thicker stuff, and you solder it on top. Let that cool. Then on Amazon you can buy some stuff called Plasti Dip, and you just dip that into the Plasti Dip a couple of times, and you get a cap that looks like that, and that'll give you an arming plug for Dean's. Pretty simple, easy peasy. All right, we got a lumber wagon in the background there. What we got? What we got going on, Dad?
Got to get this cowl to fit here. Got to rig some Bondo or something over the seam here and see if I can get a fit on this cowl.
Well, make sure you get some saran wrap.
Yeah, you know, I always thought about going the PVA route too. If you wanted something super precise. You couldn't use that on balsa wood though. You'd have to use it on a sealed surface, but that might be another option.
All right, let's see. Let me call John to make sure he's coming. I think he's milling. And speaker. Drop what you're doing, start something else. I've never done a three-way here, but I know it works. Colleague, you probably can't hear it with the lathe running or with the mill running.
Well, look at it this way, Sparky. I mean, Charles does it with 12.
Your call has been forwarded to an automated.
He does it with my Zoom program. This is called StreamYard.
Okay. That's right. Charles is on Zoom.
Right. I mean, that Zoom that he uses is stun hangers. So I could do a Zoom meeting.
Okay.
But I have more flexibility with the StreamYard.
Right.
Where I can show comments like that there. There we go.
Old John's got a whole bunch of good looking wheels.
Yeah. $1,000 a pair. Steve will be over here sometime today, so we'll have 4 guys that we could talk to. Somebody ought to know something. Let's see. I want to pick. Oh, Heat gun's heating. Okay. The heat gun is heating. You know, if Frank would have done his damn monocoat video sooner, I wouldn't have to do this. I didn't realize you were supposed to put the monocoat on the fillets first.
Oh, I don't know. I've seen it different ways. Just think of it this way, Sparky. You've done monocoat twice, the first time and the last time, right?
That's right.
Uh,
Well, I'm going to add superfill fillets to this. And then paint them silver. I got silver that matches this monocoat.
yeah. As you can see, I'm not very prepared today.
Neither am I.
Yeah. When you let this airplane sit for like 20 years, I mean, things move. You got to get back in there and fix stuff.
Well, the wood should be pretty well dried out by now.
Yeah, it's kiln dried. I got a Cobra I-beam bubble canopy above the water heater. It's a Mike Dietrich's Flying Models version. And I don't know, 30 years over the water heater or more, that ought to be good and dry.
Should be pretty light.
Yeah.
Is it together?
Huh?
Is it put together?
Oh yeah, it was covered in silk span with a couple coats of dope on it. And then of course the silk span rotted away. So I got to peel that off and probably go with polyspan or more silk span, or we just strip it down. But yeah, it's an I-beam built just stock plans with a bubble canopy. Got an FP40 reworked by Randy for it. So yeah, I've got so many projects in this garage. So I'm seeing in this, what I've got here is super fill right here on the cowl. Trying to sand it in. This is feels like 220. It's what I got it marked. I'm trying to sand the super fill without sanding too much of the fuselage. Trying to just get the cowl. I was looking through some stuff last night. I was putting short videos on YouTube and stuff. I had some samples of that HDR 250 with micro balloons, and I loaded it up like max, whereas it's probably even lighter than superfill. And that's an option too. I mean, if worse comes to worse, you run out of superfill, you can't get it or whatever, just take a good hard setting epoxy, not this rubbery stuff, but a good hard setting epoxy, and just load it up with micro balloons or phenolic balloons or whatever.
No, I'm not on Facebook. Yes, this is monocoat.
Do they have monocoat channels on Facebook?
I don't know. I don't do Facebook. Facebook is a communist organization.
Yeah. They get you more members. You sell your soul.
No thanks. Got two guys over there that tried to kill Stun Hanger, so
There's enough room for all of us.
they ain't never gonna be able to kill Stun Hanger because Stun Hanger is me. You know, just like the Chinese, they say, "Well, we're gonna take your name, well, the Stun Hanger name, and the DNS server." And I said, "Go ahead."
Yeah.
They tried to hold me hostage. I said, "Go ahead." Yeah, because without me, there ain't no Stun Hanger.
Yeah. That's just it. I mean, when you get into these small businesses, the cottage industries, it's not the business, it's the person. It's like we got a little donut shop out here where I live, and it's basically the guy was making the donuts or his daughter that's running it. So that's why you see all these little businesses go out because, you know, they get old, retire, or, you know, don't want to do it anymore. Just a labor of love.
Yes, Marky Dan is sanding. I see that.
I tell you what, I did a lot of sanding the last couple of weeks. I was helping my sister out. We were working on baseboards and door jambs and casing that were tore up. I got some Bondo. It's from USG, United States or USC. I don't know, US Chemical. It's that Bondo. It's really super thin. It came in a bag and had a top on it. It's super thin. It's called the final glazing, you know, Bondo. But
Polyester. That ain't Bondo. That's polyester.
well, yeah, that's the same thing.
No, it
But
ain't.
huh?
It ain't.
Bondo's polyester.
That Bondo in a bag is finishing glaze. Anyway,
Yeah. Well, it smells. You use MEK on it.
it
Smell,
smells the same.
smells the same, and it has a faster kick to it. Yeah, I'd mix up a glob like this, and you better be getting it because 2 minutes later, it's a rock.
Good morning, Steve Berry. I'm really surprised this series didn't play out all that well.
Oh, you mean the Monaco thing?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. You've got an audience, and your audience are painters, builders. There's an audience out there for what you just did, but you just haven't reached them yet.
This
So let's say you have a donut shop. Everybody that comes through your door, they want to buy a donut. Well, if you decide to start selling pizza at noon, you're not going to sell any pizzas because everybody thinks you're selling donuts. So that's what I'm talking about. You start to sell something different, and then the customers, you got to know about it.
well, you figure that this was a crash repair video, playlist. Only 12% watch. 12%, 2% click through, and 12% retention. That's not good.
Yeah. Well, because the customers are looking for donuts, not pizza. Now you take this monocoat series and this crash repair for the ARF, which basically applies to any ARF out there, RC or whatever. So this might be one of these series. If you put it up on a playlist,
I did.
a year or two later, it might take off. It's just something people are interested in. But like I said with the donut pizza analogy, that's so you got, once you reach the right crowd, I mean, people will probably enjoy it, you know. And it's like somebody told me it takes 6 months to get an ARF from overseas to here when they buy the containers full. So here's the thing, they get all these ARFs and everybody crashes and nobody fixes them. So that means the person selling the ARFs has to carry probably an unlimited supply of wings, tails, and all the other parts that they tear up. So maybe the videos on what you did, taking an ARF and making it into something usable, would probably be good information.
Okay, John's here. Okay, click in, John. Go to the top of the chat. Let me paste it again here. There you go. Yeah, we're getting John on now.
You know, hey, Sparky, it's hard to get those easy chair guys going.
Yeah, but I can crack the whip.
I'll tell you who had the good cowlings on these airplanes. Seemed like every year was Fancher.
Yep, he's the best. There
Can
we
you
go.
hear me?
We got John in here now.
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you, John. Plane's looking good.
Thanks. Yeah, we're working on another one now.
What are you working on?
Making another Nobler.
Okay. Hey, is it the Gieske Nobler?
Yeah, I decided on that. That was the one that Barb really liked, and I wanted to make sure that I did something that she liked.
So in other words, you said you decided on it, but you need to back up and say Barb decided on it.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
She made it a point that when I built that she really liked that airplane. So
Yeah.
it hurt her when I crashed it, and I just have to go on from there.
Yeah.
And we're making our typical motor mounts that they'll be triple tapered and inlaid and all that stuff. So all the glue joints will have tons of different angles of glue joints and everything. I just milled these grooves in here for a piece of 1/8" wood. And then we'll step this down 1/8 of an inch so you get more tank adjustment height. And then we'll taper them to point back at the back, from nothing up here at the front to almost nothing up back here in the back, at an angle. That cuts as much of that maple out of there as you can possibly cut out.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the step down goes, the step down will look like this. I don't know if you can tell that. You can see this.
Yeah.
You can't take much more of that off because you're only using a 1/2 inch wood anyway, so you got to have something left in there to glue.
Hey, John, has anybody ever used wood for motor mounts other than maple?
I've tried a couple of different kinds. I've used pine. I've used oak. The problem with pine is it's soft, and it'll crush even with aluminum pads. It'll still crush. Oak has got too coarse of a grain, and so it could literally just split.
Yeah.
And maple seems to be tight grains, and hardwood. It doesn't crush easy, and it just seems to be the go-to stuff. Now, you got to watch out. Sugar maple's different than rock hard maple.
Yeah. Yep.
So when you go down there and you think you're getting maple and you're getting sugar maple, well, it's a different ballgame.
Yeah, you get the sugar maple, we might as well be doing pine or something.
Yeah, I've even used poplar on some sort of like combat style control line airplanes, that are just sort of thrashers. But I ended up having to put aluminum plates on both sides of the poplar to keep it from crushing.
You want to see the ultimate motor mount material? I'll show you right now. There we are. This is the ultimate motor mount material.
What is it?
3/8 by half phenolic. Linen phenolic.
Yeah, that would do it.
What I used to do in the 90s is I would take 4 inches of this and I would angle it off and glue it to maple and make a composite mount, because you can't crush this. You don't have to run motor pads and all that other stuff. You couldn't crush this on your best day.
Well, I'll tell you a little story. Paul Walker on his B-17, he made carbon fiber motor mounts for those little FP or little 15 size motors or whatever they were.
That ain't no good.
Well, the problem was the motor mounts were so hard and rigid, the vibration wasn't absorbed in the mounts and it didn't dissipate for some reason, and he couldn't get a good engine run.
Created a
So,
harmonics.
yes, exactly. So that's something to consider. I'm not saying it would happen in all cases, but it happened in his case. So the reason why I brought that up, I was out in the driveway slicing up some oak for the stairway job I was doing for a guy, and these cutoffs, after I sliced off the stuff I needed, were 1/2 inch by 3/8 and perfectly straight, and I had a bundle of them. And I looked at them, I thought, well, these look like motor mounts. And I put the ruler on them, I thought, well, they are motor mounts, But, it's white oak, but which is better than red, but tighter grain, but still, it's not as good as maple.
Did you mold in your canopy yet?
Have I done what?
Mold in the canopy?
No, I haven't got the canopy on. Basically, you remember the last time we did this stream, I was working on the canopy. I haven't done anything but sand the fillets. I had to go to Arizona to help. So, yeah, I got a little bit more sanding on the fillets to do, but those are pretty much done except for a couple touch-ups. So I thought I'd work on this cowl and then get that canopy on. I had to go to the hobby shop and get some model paints to do the inside of the canopy. That was before I left.
The 2025 Nats is coming up pretty quick, so you better get at it.
Hey, I don't know Friday from Saturday, so I'm sure 2025 ain't gonna be no big deal.
Well, yesterday or Thursday, I thought it was Friday, and I thought I got off. Well, I spent 2.5 hours on the stream.
Yeah, I know I caught that mistake. I heard it.
Yeah.
To be heard, I'm hunting for some wood, guys, so I'm out with a picture for
Whatever.
Yeah, this Bondo's been sitting here for a couple months. I better get out a more aggressive grain here.
80 is what I sand it with. Really.
When I was doing that finish carpenter stuff on that crew, the only thing they had on the job site was 80 grit, and that's all we needed. And from 80 grit on popper or whatever we were using, then the painters could prime it and make it work.
Yeah.
Well, this isn't quite Saturday at John's anymore, but it's close.
Close you can be without being here.
Yeah.
And once I get this thing sanded in pretty close, I'm going to take it off and put a spreader in here. I still need to cut out a cooling hole right here. I need to get a spreader here somewhere that's going to hold this cowl from shrinking in. And once I get that spreader in there, I'll pop it out a little bit, and then I'll lather some nose weight up here, liquid nose weight.
I'm gonna put it on the stand and keep painting till it mends. Okay, so we got that. Bando, send us bando.
Something new.
Yeah, I got that when I was out in Arizona working on that casing and stuff. They call myself Rondo Bondo. Just call me Rondo.
Rondo Bondo.
This stuff I'm sanding, well, this isn't Bondo. This is the super fill. Same thing. You let super fill sit a week or two, it even gets harder.
You can't hardly beat Superfill, really.
Yeah. One of the things I did on this cow, when I glass it, I put a little bit extra glass on it. And then I thinned it out from the inside to where it was just like a razor edge, trying to get that fancier look, that real sharp edge here.
Yeah.
But by having the glass on the outside, it allowed me to take almost all the wood down at the point. Once I got it super thin, then I put a coat of glass on the inside. So basically, it's almost like a fiberglass cowl with a balsa core. So that worked out pretty good.
I don't think there's anybody better at cowls than Fancher.
Yeah, he's the benchmark for me. That's what I was trying to duplicate. You know, sometimes here in this hobby, you think you're really progressing and you're moving ahead till you start watching these old films and seeing what people did 10, 20 years ago. And you think, I don't know. I don't think we're that far ahead of the game. They did some pretty neat stuff.
It's all the same.
You know what's phenomenal is their finishes, because they had some really spectacular finishes. They were brushed. They were all brushed.
Brush. Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah,
Arrow
because
brush.
they
Yeah.
didn't have a lot of spray equipment or anything like that, and airbrushes and all that kind of stuff. They brushed that stuff in there.
Yeah.
That's what made the difference. I got another Got another arming plug here, or is that the same one? No, other.
You ain't
Hey,
tried to
Bart.
burn the house down yet, are you?
Do what?
Not trying to burn the house down yet, are you?
From what?
That electric stuff.
Almost did. Almost burned her down. That's 24.
Real easy to do.
Yeah, we'll do it on that. Rondo Bondo.
This is what I'm talking about on this cow. When it shrunk, its sides pulled in. I'm going to put a spreader in there right here.
Yeah, they'll do that, or they'll bow out, one or the other. They either go in or come out, one or the
Yeah.
other. You can put a piece straight up and down, one on the fuselage side and one on the cowling, opposite of each other,
Yeah.
and that'll sort of, cancel itself out. It makes it for a little harder to get the cowl off on, but
Yeah. Well, I still got to get the tank in and out here. So as long as the spreader is high enough to where the tank will slide underneath it, should be all right.
Well, that's what happens when you wait 20 years to finish it.
You ain't kidding.
Another one of them.
The balsa wood in this thing was so good and I had so much time in it, I thought I got to finish it.
Oh, no.
At one point, I almost was going to take it to Muncie at the Nats, put a $150 price tag on it and sell it.
Well,
Did you see the planes that Mike Wonky bought last night from the swap meet?
I thought he was selling stuff. He bought more?
And he bought Bob Dixon's crystal for $25.
Wow.
the whole airplane.
Yeah, well, no engine, but
That's a heck of a deal.
Yeah, there's some stuff you just can't pass up.
What's he gonna do with it?
give it to TJ. TJ's getting out of racing. He's going to do more stunts. That's what they said.
Oh, really? Yeah, he flew a little stunt before, not much.
Beginner.
Yeah, well, probably an intermediate.
Man, I got some black pinstripe here. Be the coolest. Pinstripe around that, man, that'll really make it pop.
I'll tell you a story on these stunt planes. When I was a little kid, I used to be in any sport liners. I was probably about 13 years old or something. Couldn't figure out how they got these beautiful finishes on these airplanes. So there's a guy in Indianapolis. His name was Chuck Delano. He flew stunt. And he had good looking airplanes. I mean, they were shiny and they were nice looking airplanes. So I asked him, I said, how do you finish that, get that finish? He said, well, I'll tell you what. He brings over one of these third hand things here where you bolt in the nose and you got this thing that holds onto it like that. He said, you need that. He said, get this thing sanded to where it's really nice. And then he shows up with an automotive gun with a huge cup on it. He said, we're going to do 1/3 thinner, 1/3 talc, and 1/3 clear dope. So he mixes all that up and he fires that compressor up and he takes this whole plane and he just blasts it. I mean, we're talking, it's looking like a marshmallow. And then he says, now get you a sanding block and sand it to where it's almost all gone. And then we're going to put some clear on it. But I never will forget that. He laid that stuff on so thick.
Lot of paint.
I love the smell of Aero Gloss and baby powder. Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to keep a bottle or two of that stuff around just to keep the smell fresh.
Yeah, we use the Johnson & Johnson unscented.
I just got baby powder, regular Johnson baby powder. It's scented, but it's when you mix it with Randolph, it don't smell the same.
You think the air gloss makes it different?
Absolutely.
Well, air gloss smells different anyway.
Now there's different Aero Glosses too. There's orange label and red label. The red label's the old stuff, and it's the best.
I'll tell you what's amazing about some of that stuff I got in the cabinet over there. Still good.
Aero Gloss?
Yeah, some of it's got some small jars of color.
Got any thinner?
That I don't have.
That's the problem.
Therein lies the problem.
Yeah.
I'm not so sure MEK is the answer to that either.
There's those oak motor mounts I was talking about, John.
Yeah. Yeah, they probably worked for a while, I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, the old woodworkers from way back when, would sit here and say, well, that's the wrong kind of stuff to use, and all this.
Well, I'll tell you a trick. If you see red and white oak, sometimes it's hard to tell because sometimes some red oak sort of looks white and sometimes white oak's just a little darker.
Oh, yeah.
So what you can do, if you take this white oak and you slice maybe a 1/16 of an inch wafer off of that or an 1/8 inch, and you hold it up to the light, if it's red oak, you're going to see the light come through the tubes, the tubes in the wood. If it's white oak, you're not going to be able to see that. So
Right.
that's how you can really definitively tell by taking a piece of end grain, holding up the light, and see how much light comes through it.
Let me get the chat here. They're talking about motor mounts. That phenolic stick, I bought a sheet of 1/2 inch thick phenolic, and I cut them on a table saw, and that's where you got 3/8 by 1/2. And then Gary Sinclair says, I like it. It's a great to have you all. Okay. And then Emilio says, Buenos tardes. And I say, ¿Qué dice diaria? Bienvenidos a todos niños. All right.
I'm sorry, how long does it take you to get your tongue untied after saying that?
Yeah. And Todd Simpson gave us a $20 super chat. That's the first super chat of the month. We only got about $1 million to go. All right. Well, that takes care of that business. Get a paint stick. I need something. Oh, I get a screwdriver down in there. This super fill, when the I didn't realize I was gonna use it. You see how it's dark on the bottom here? I'm doing this for the guys on the stream. This is where the active agent is. So
Yeah.
what you do is you turn these cans upside down every 6 months or whatever. But now I gotta stir it in. I already did that to the activator. I gotta get that up off the bottom.
Yeah, that's important.
Otherwise, you just have the micro balloons or whatever's in this stuff.
Yeah, you're not gonna. Well, also the cure rate's going to be different.
To be clear, my wife and I are pregnant. Oh, great. That was from Steve Berry.
Well, congratulations.
I hope you just mean your wife's pregnant.
Yeah. That's not what he said. He said my wife and I are pregnant. So there's what the material should look like after you get it stirred up. It's nice and thin. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the thinner is on the thinning agent is. So I guess it would probably be resin, right? Polyester resin.
Yeah, when it gets into the chemistry, I know with epoxy, they have certain additives they put in epoxies that actually react with the curing agent. So to be real technical, it's called a reactive diluent. And so what they're doing when they thin the epoxy, they don't actually change the ratio of curing agent, since the curing agent reacts with the thinner, if that makes any sense. It gets pretty technical, and I'm not really sure how it all works, but
I know with Bondo, if you want it thinner, all you got to do is mix resin or
right.
polyester resin with it.
Yeah.
Sando the Bondo. I think I threw those 2 cans out. I was asked one time on the forum, what happens if I mix this 50-50? Well, you can do that. It'll just not give you as much working time. I don't know how strong it'll be, but it won't hurt anything. This stuff is not a chemistry experiment.
Yeah, it's pretty lenient. The thing is, though, the way epoxy works is just think of it as a nut and a bolt, part A, part B. So what happens with the part A nut and the part B nut? They actually cross-link to make the atomic connection, or whatever you want to call it. So once that connection is made, it's finished. So then what happens if you have more than one or the other, A or B, out of specs, you have all that stuff roaming around in there. It's not doing anything. So basically you're making the joint weaker by either lessening it or increasing the curing agent. Now, for what we do, does it matter? No, it doesn't, but that's a technical explanation. One nut, one bolt, and if you have extra nuts or bolts rolling around in the mixture, it just contaminates it and makes it weaker. And the reason why it cures quicker is because it's easier to find the nut and bolt matchup when you have more of one or the other, I guess. But one of these days, I'm going to come out in the shop. I'm going to do a whole day in a video of experimentations of what happens when you mix it perfect, you go too far one way or too far the other, and take it all the way to the extremes.
You're going to find it doesn't do anything.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to find out of with epoxy. When you go to the extremes, the cup almost catches on fire.
Yeah,
I read that happen.
yeah, you better have your fire extinguisher handy or a hose or something.
Hey, I don't know if you remember, John, but when it's Saturday at John's, we were making something over there, and the epoxy kicked off because it was in your basement.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, you could smell it.
Yeah, it takes a whole nother meaning when it starts setting off and you got too much hardener in it. I've done that. I've actually had it catch on fire and turn black.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember me telling the story about the M80 factory in my garage. I had mixed that. The cops came, and I was mixing resin, and the cops looked at. I had resin smoldering on the bench and a model car in the trash can that was burned up. What the heck is going on here?
Yeah.
What are you doing here, boy?
Well, I said, you can look for yourself. He said, I could be getting to scratch a serve in this place in a month. And he called the fire marshal on my dad. My dad got a citation, so we had to clean it up.
Oh God. I gotta get a tank here. I gotta make sure I can get a tank in this thing.
Okay, on to the tickets.
I hope I can do this. Maybe I can, maybe I can't.
This isn't gonna be the tank I'm using, but it'll be all right for this purpose. Yeah, it's an inch and a quarter. Hey, hey Sparky,
Yeah.
Super Tiger 60s. What's your Venturi and tank size?
The tank size is 6 ounces, but I usually put an 8-ounce tank in it. You're going to run about 5 3/4 ounces, but I always run an 8-ounce tank just in case I want to run big nitro. And the
Okay.
Venturi is, hello, Randy, send me a Venturi for a Super Tiger 60. I never checked it.
Yeah, I can't remember, but go by my memory, it's like 280, 300, 310. I don't know, somewhere around there. Maybe I'm wrong.
The most important thing is 13.6 rev up, SIG champion fuel, 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
And it will run perfect every time.
So
Let it
champion fuel, you're talking about half caster, half synthetic, right?
correct.
Yeah.
And you let it go at RPM.
Look at these things. Aren't these cute? I got these at Menards.
I got them.
These little Bessie clamps.
I like that.
Yeah, they're I thought, they looks like they clamp up pretty parallel.
You can take the plastic off the ends of them so you can have metal, or are they all metal or are they all plastic?
No, it's all plastic. You take the ends off.
These are all metal. These are Craftsman.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, that was probably
Pre-China.
yeah. Yeah. These aren't bad. I think they were cheap too. They were on sale.
$14 for 2.
No, it wasn't that.
Yeah, that's what they got them at Lowe's for. Bessie's.
I got these. These are quick grip. Same basic thing. Got a little rubber that comes off the ends of them. The tip screws on, so I guess you could screw something else on there, reverse it or whatever, and maybe put it on the other end, and you could have something that forces outwards instead of forces inward, because it's got a hole in the end of it on the opposite end of the rod there. And you could take this end off and turn it around, and you could spread something with it. They're pretty nice. I mean, they don't have a whole lot of grip strength to them, but enough.
Yeah, for what we're doing. It's got a screw holding the end of the clamp off on here. I don't know if you could take that out and reverse it or not. There's another hole over here, so
There's
you
a hole, yeah, I think that's what that's for, Dan, so you can spread stuff with it instead of clamping.
Raul Foltman says, beautiful milling machine. He likes your Harbor Freight milling machine.
Thank you know how much I paid $550 for that thing, what, about 6 years ago? And they're $2,500 now if you buy one from Harbor Freight.
for the milling machine.
You what?
That milling machine you got's a couple grand now.
Yeah.
Wow.
They've got another one out too that's more like a tabletop knee mill.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like a regular full-size Bridgeport, except it's tabletop, and the table goes up and down instead of the head going up and down, and a square column, which is better than this round column mill, because you know how it is trying to keep concentricity and all that stuff with a round column mill. If you move the head up and down, you lose all that.
Yeah.
But with a knee mill, you don't lose that. So I sort of wish I'd had that other one but they're like I said, they're $2,500 for.
Wow.
Well, and just like any kind of machine, a lathe or a mill, if you pay that much for that, expect to pay that much or maybe 3 times that much in tooling and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know how many places have used tooling for sale anymore, but that might be something I'd look at, John.
Gee, Dan, I can't find new tooling, let alone unless I go online and order it. Nothing in the Dayton area. I got to go Cincinnati, Columbus, Indianapolis, where they still got some stores. per
Yeah.
se. I can't get it here in Dayton. They don't have it.
Yeah, I remember.
You can go ahead and talk, but I'm gonna mute me somehow here. Because I'm gonna turn this mill on and taper these motor mounts down.
I can do that. You.
Right.
There we go. Just me and you, Dan.
All right. We won't say anything bad about him.
Yeah, he still can hear you. Muted, but
We
but
just can't hear him.
yeah.
Here's one of the most valuable tools right here, Sparky.
Sandpaper.
No, well, that's probably the first. This will be the second. Little
Yeah.
square.
Yeah. Let me show you my square like that. How big is that?
It's a 6-incher.
Here's my 6-inch square.
You got a good stirrup? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
Paint stick square. I made it. But it's square.
Well, that's all that matters. I mean, it doesn't matter if you make it or not. If it's square, I've seen some stuff you buy brand new. It's not square.
You know how to check it, right? You put it on a straight edge and draw a straight line. Then you flip it over to the other side and draw another straight line. And if they're over the top of each other, it's square. If it's not, they're off.
Yeah, and it magnifies the air, so it'll show up quick. I made these little blocks here. I was out there cutting up some stuff.
Yeah.
So I use these on the, made them on the chop saw and the table saw. I double checked them for square. And here's another one. It's got a little edge glued on it. See if I can get it lined up like that. And it'll do a 90 or a 45. And I like it because it's got 3/4 inch here, so that way you can put a saw up next to it or a sanding block. So let's just say that, you know, you want something to be really, really accurate. You can actually take your piece of wood, you know, like this. Take your sanding, you know, you can sand right up to it like this. You can only sand so much, and eventually you'll wear it out, but you just keep checking it. If it ever gets out of square or 45, you just put it back on the chop saw or the belt sander and make it straight.
Well, I went to Lowe's and I bought a 2-foot piece of maple. Was, you know, it was supposed to be 1 inch, but it's 3/4 thick by 8 inches. And I put that on my table saw and milled it up on the table saw and run it through the planer. Perfect motor mount stuff.
You're probably glad you got that saw, aren't you? In the planer.
Oh yeah.
I knew that would come in handy for what you're doing.
I told the guys on the screen last night while I was in Lowe's the other day. I was looking around, and I'm going to go into Lowe's and I'm going to build an airplane only out of hardware store material.
So
I think I can do it.
So where are you going to start? You going to get poplar, or what are you going to start with? Styrofoam or what?
Yeah, I'm going to use insulation foam board. Use some foam board. I'll use some 2x4s. You know, see if I can find a clear one and mill that up. Then I'm going to use brown paper bag. They got this brown paper bag stuff, and I'll use polyacrylic. And if I was flying electric, I could paint it with house paint. But
Yeah. I had a buddy that made a Zeroli warbird. He painted it with house paint, but he had a gas engine on it. Gas didn't bother it.
now
So
that guy that died, I mean, that guy that did the Zeroli stuff, he had all kind of big stuff, you know, F4U, and
yeah,
he died. And man, I used to love to watch his channel.
yeah. Nick Zeroli.
I guess maybe, I don't know what his name was. Then you got that other guy that has fingers off his hands. You ever seen that guy?
No.
He builds RC planes for clients, and he's missing like all his fingers on one hand. That's the guy you don't want around the milling machine.
No. I came across a YouTube channel that's pretty good. It was this morning. It's called Model Engine Collectors of Mikoa or something like that. Model Engine Collectors of America. And these guys, you got to watch it. They were doing a K&B factory tour. And they were actually CNC machining cranks for K&B 40s. And then they had a Bridgeport set up where they were doing some operations. So they were doing different things. It's worth watching. Now, I don't know what the B was for Broadbeck or something. I'm not sure the K was, but there was a speed flyer in Indy, Ned Morris. He knew all about the guys that started it, and he knew what the K and B stood for. I already cut one of these out and see if I can get one to fit. First one I cut, I tried to cut it the right size. I knew better. Cut it big and then sand it to fit.
You cut it the right size, it won't fit.
One of the things that like a furniture woodworker will do, they call it sneaking up on it.
Yeah.
So they never get it exact. And they just keep working till they get it exact. Sneak up on it.
Use your X-Acto knife as a marking knife, and then leave that line on, and then sand it till it fits.
Yeah, you're exactly right. If you're making precision stuff, you don't use a ink pen. You use a X-Acto knife or a razor blade to mark it. And that's what you set it up as. And then another trick is when let's say you're cutting like white oak or something like this, it's a piece of wood. If you need to shave just a little bit off of it, what you do is the blade is here. You push the wood up to the blade till it flexes, maybe 10 thousandths of an inch or whatever.
Right.
Raise your chop saw up, the blade comes back the 10 thousandths that you flexed it, and basically you can sand the edge of this piece of wood 10 thousandths of a time just by the flex of the blade. And I used to do stuff like that on that carpentry job. It'd drive the old guys nuts. It's like, what, you're taking too long. But if you really wanted something to fit perfect, and yeah, that was an experience.
Well, I've learned that, you know, I've been building so long, I can look at something, not even measure it, cut it, and it'll be close.
Oh yeah. Working in the machine shop, I only did it for 9 months, but it got to where I could almost take a piece of steel, like thin stock, and tell you if it's 10 thousandths or 15, or I could
Oh,
almost feel how thick it was.
oh yeah. 12 gauge steel is almost an eighth of an inch thick, so, you know, 10 gauge is, I don't know, a little over eight, about 3/16, close.
Yeah, and then you start to memorize 0.0625 is 16th, and then you just, you know, you just double that, and you just sort of in your own mind, you just sort of add stuff up.
Well, is this stuff gonna pull off now, or do I have to wait a little longer? Doing these fillets like this, I don't know. It's hard for me to judge what's the exact right time to take the tape off.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know what you mean. Hey, what you could do, Sparky, is leave it on and then sand the fillets to the tape. And that'll leave you the thickness of the tape, and then peel the tape off.
I'm not sanding anything on this. I'm going to take the tape off, let them set up a little bit, hit them with alcohol, and paint them. That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. This is an art. Not even supposed to have fillets on top of monocoat. But
Did you rough that monocoat up?
no, it'll be fine. There we go. I guess I can start taking them off now because that worked okay there. If this thing lasts another season, that's funny good.
Well, probably lasts another 5-10 years. It's no longer an art.
It definitely lasts that if you don't like something about it.
There was a crashed RC airplane at the field. It was a 4-star 120, I think. And they threw it in the shed out there, the lawnmower shed. And they're getting ready to trash it. I said, I'll take it. So I bring it home and I started looking at it. They got the main ribs glued in. I can't remember what it was, but some of the ribs weren't even glued. I'd have to look at it, but I can't remember if the half ribs weren't glued or something. But there was absolutely zero glue on some of those ribs. Sort of blew my mind. It's like, I don't know, maybe lunchtime was coming up or something and they had to get going quicker or something.
Well, you'll have it flying next week. That's the whole deal about not knowing how to build. When you crash something, it's throw it away and get a new one.
Yeah.
Whereas if you know how to build, you can turn it into, I mean, this is an art, but it doesn't look like it anymore.
All right, I gotta find me some cellophane tape. I know I've got it out here somewhere.
No, just go and get some cellophane out of the kitchen, some saran wrap.
I found it. So I just got to make sure I don't glue this canopy down. Now, when I was working on it before, I actually glued this thing to the fuse. I had to cut it off, and I don't want to do that again.
That's why if you get saran wrap, you wrap it around all the wood, it clings to itself. You got no chance of doing that.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to try this tape thing here. Put this tape on, put a little wax on it or something.
Little wax on, wax off. I'm surprised Steve hasn't messaged me. He was all hot to trot to go work on his airplane.
Yeah, he's probably got something came up. Either that or he's sitting in the easy chair watching us.
You're right.
He's thinking, you know what? I'll give Sparky another couple hours. He said, then I'll call him. He'll be done with it by then.
I've been over there learning how to solder and stuff.
Well, that solder I got is crap. I'm gonna have to see if I can get. I mean, it'll work. It wasn't a cold joint. It just looks cold. It dries.
Did you get that recently?
Within a few years, probably. It ain't like
I inherited some solder from my father-in-law. He used to work in avionics, and he used to build computers before anybody knew what a computer was. I know I got some good solder.
it looks like hair. It's real fine. Is what you need. 60-40. I went to Lowe's to buy some solder because this stuff here is Alpha something or other, made in Mexico.
Is that safe solder? The new kind that's not really all lead?
It doesn't say, and the writing on it's so tiny I can't see it. So but I do have some of that safe solder, but it's junk. It's total shit.
Yeah, it don't work with it. It doesn't even work on pipes and stuff like it's for.
The greenies. The greenies are after us.
Yeah. Need to California, everybody.
That's what's amazing to me is that Randolph is in California.
Yeah.
They're suing the meat people. They're suing the meat people because they're so-called non-ecological or whatever. And so you know what that does? That just makes, since they got to pay for all their defense and all that stuff, it makes the price of meat go up.
Well, Chris loaded up on meat yesterday. She got about 40 pounds of different, pot roast and corned beef and
You know, we used to do the EAA air bencher up in Oshkosh, and
you and Dan McAtee.
yeah, he was up there every year. But anyway, they had a restaurant. I think it's called Kodiak's or something. But anyway, this restaurant was unbelievable good steak. And it was like a log cabin type thing, real rustic fireplaces. And then they had stuffed bear, elk, deer. I mean, it's full of these animals. It's pretty neat. But anyway, every year I'd go up there and get those steaks. I finally asked him, I said, you know, you got some of the best steak I ever had in a restaurant. He said, yeah, we control our beef. He said, you know, we have it raised for us. So they weren't buying it, I guess, on the open market. They were actually, you know, they had the control over what they were getting. But it was good. I don't know if they're still in business up there, but if I ever get back up there, I'll see if I can go in there. I'd go in there and get a steak a couple times a week.
Bet it wasn't as good as my birthday steak.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sparky, that one I made, homemade here, that even surprised me.
Best I ever had in my life.
Yeah, I'd have to say it was the same with me. I mean, I went to that meat market. I'll tell the guys here real quick, but I look in the counter and I wanted a ribeye, and I asked the guy, I said, you don't have any out? He said, well, we're cutting some up right now. He said, you want some? I said, yeah, give me 2 ribeye steaks, good size. And this guy comes out. Here's this notebook here, right? And he comes out with 2 of them like this, laying on a piece of wax paper about this big, and they're 2 inches thick. And he walks out with these steaks like this, like it was his newborn child. And he had a big smile on his face, and I didn't have the heart to say, well, I didn't want that much. So I said, I'll take them. So long story short, when I cooked those, it's like, oh my gosh, I couldn't believe how good they were.
And then he got Brussels sprouts the size of golf balls. And
Well,
usually those are terrible bitter. Yeah. But these were sweet. They were great, man.
Yeah, I'll get back up there and guys come back through or get together. We'll have to I'll go up there and see if they got more of that stuff. I came pretty close to the Brussels sprouts in the grocery, and not quite as good though. I think they probably found an Amish farm or something to get those. Let's see. I need to get me a spatula here. I got my.
Now I'm taking that. This is extra superfill. This is waste, which is not bad. Only maybe ½ ounce of waste. But you don't want to try putting this on. It's starting to kick off.
Yeah.
So don't. I'm telling the guys on the. I know you know. I know John knows, but I'm telling the guys on the channel, don't try to use this. I mean, it probably would work, and you could work and get it on there, but it's more work than it's worth. So you just throw it out and mix a new batch.
Yeah. Another thing I used to do, Sparky, when I'd mix up a little bit more and I thought I needed, I'd make an experiment out of it. I'd put it in a glob somewhere. I used to take it and mold it into my hand, and then thinking, well, I could make a handle out of it or something.
I don't know. I wouldn't trust it as a handle.
Well, you'd actually run music wire through there. It was just the grip part of it. I think there's a lot of neat videos, you know, we could make on composites. That's one of those things we'll just go on forever. So this
Maybe
didn't,
they try to do that, Dan, you know, where they used it for a grip, but they mixed up a new batch and put on a rubber glove and then mooshed that stuff all over their existing handle.
yeah,
Took it
yep,
in there and squeezed it, wiped off all the excess, squeezed it again, and sat there and held it until it got hard
yep.
and make a sort of form-fitting handle. Not a bad idea, really, all in all.
Now see, this is that polyester feather fill type spot putty I just mixed up. So we'll do the real time. This stuff will be kicked up here within about 1 or 2 minutes.
Well, we got 19 likes and 14 viewers with $20 in super chat.
That's good.
If you guys super chat, I'll post you up right in the stream with us. Super sticker, whatever. Well, I'm going to wait a couple minutes more, and then I'm going to smooth these fillets out and flip it over and do the other side. We get a final weight on this turd and see what it weighs. You know, I don't have any tip weight in it, but it still falls to the outside. You think I ought to put some in it in any way?
No, I'd just fly it and see what happens. Just remember what, you know.
Well, I will never fly this. I'll watch it fly. I trimmed his airplane watching it.
Yeah,
I don't need to fly. I know what they're doing. Oh, man.
you know why? Hey, Sparky, you know why you're not going to fly that electric?
What?
You're
I
afraid. Hey, John, he's afraid he might like it.
I've already been fooled one time by Jeff Trexler. It won't happen again.
I don't know.
I sold all my IC stuff. I had a bunch of PAs, a bunch of them. And I go, well, we're going electric. So I sold all that shit and I built 6 purpose-built airplanes. I go, oh, this is crap. You know, how that came about was at the Nats one year, Traxler had a All-American.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that he had a 60 size motor in that All-American. I go, man, this thing is powerful. And, you know, it would go anywhere you want to go. So I changed my Viper 8 over. What a mistake that was. That was a 48-ounce PA airplane with a PA 65 in it, 48 ounces on a pipe. And
so the All-American you're saying was an electric, right?
right. And I flew that and I go, man, I'm going to switch over. And that's what convinced me. And then when my first airplane I did is I took that Viper 8, 48 ounces. Steve still got the wing, 48 ounces. Matter of fact, he's got the profile I built out of it, electric profile. I put the motor in it, and I flew it for a while, and then on a square, it ripped the motor out. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds pretty typical.
I mean, it hit the corner, and the motor kept going, boom, and the plane went crash.
Yeah.
That's where I learned about keying stuff in on this shit.
Well, Bob Hunt told me on electric, if you don't put a soft start on some of these motors, I mean, they can actually torque the nose off your airplane.
I don't doubt that.
I mean,
They got more power than what meets the eye, what you think they do.
Yeah.
Well, it's instantaneous too.
This buddy
Yeah.
of mine, a young kid, is friends with my boy. He comes over with a Tesla. He said, "We're gonna go for a ride." I said, "Yeah, let's go." And take it down the street. We get on a side street over here. He said, "You ready?" I said, "Yeah, I guess." He stomped it down. That thing is like unbelievable. Just like it's like a rocket, you know. I'm not saying it's faster than an IC engine, but the instantaneous part was what got me.
Well, Garlitz was trying to hit 200, be the first to 200 on electric dragster. He didn't make it, but his buddy did. But we're only 150 miles an hour away from being up there with IC.
Well, I was at an IRP the first time a dragster hit 300. It was Kenny Bernstein and a Budweiser
Right.
did 300 and something, and pretty much made history at the time. I turned on the TV the other day, and they're doing, I don't know if it's a full quarter, but I mean they were going well over 300, 330 or 40. I don't know.
No, it's not a quarter anymore. It's only 1,000 feet.
Yeah. But anyway, I mean, it was well over 300 what they're doing.
I think they're hitting that now on the short course.
Right.
Yeah.
And 1,000 feet, they're over 300.
Wow.
It's pretty phenomenal.
I see back in the day, we used to go out to the track and you can get nitromethane, and then you could get propylene oxide and all kinds of stuff out there, and make model airplane fuel. That was the thing about Indy. We were really, I mean, full of these race teams, so that stuff was readily available.
I missed that Fort Benjamin Harris contest. That was a good contest.
Oh man, I know it. And we used to fly there every weekend or every weekend you wanted to. Nobody gave us any trouble.
They had scale, speed. I don't think there was combat there. There was scale, speed, and stunt all in one
Yeah.
park within, I mean, like flying in 3 circles, one next to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
They could have pitted in the same pits.
Oh, I know. It was a neat contest. Here's my little book. It's a little binder of some of the stuff I made with all the weights and stuff. Yeah. Different weights of wing cores and stuff.
I screwed up. I don't have any of that stuff written down. It's all in my head.
Well, it's sort of neat. I mean, if you look back here, like Warren T. Hart's wing, a wing for John Davis, Al Reed's stab, some carbon fiber end grain stuff, weights and measurements. Let me see here. Different weights for 3M77 versus epoxy. Allen Brickhouse wing. T. Hart. I mean, just all different stuff. And some of the test stuff I did, you know, when I was hogging out bell cranks, I'd keep a list. Chromoly horns versus mild steel on different thicknesses, the weights. So it's a neat reference to look back on. Now that Chiros airplane I had in the early 90s, Chiros means, it's a Greek word for luck. And the numbers of that airplane were based off of 3 airplanes. It was the Impact, Jimmy Casale's airplane, and then the Junar, Billy Warwood. And what John Davis did with the data sheet, this is John's writing. He took the Spectron Columbia, the Warwoods Junar and the Impact by Walker. And he took all these dimensions, and people, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but it was just sort of fun to do because they say you can't average, but you know, you can, but it might not have what you want out of it. So, you know, the nose, tail length, the spinner, he took all these measurements of each one of these airplanes. And then the final column was the average right here, combined all those measurements into these. So when I built the Chiros, just for the fun of it, to see how it'd fly, I took the average of those 3 airplanes right here, and those were the measurements on the Chiros. Of course, with my cosmetic, you know, I added the canopy and the things that cosmetically I like. But basically, that was the Chiros. And then John took the, you know, just the, just sort of a drawing of all the different things. So when you went back and referenced like stab cord O, stab cord O, so you could reference, you know, the alphabet here off of the alphabet he put on all the drawings here to actually show you when he meant nose moment, he meant from the leading edge to the spinner or the back of the prop, and you know, it's all laid out. So that's sort of neat. Let's see what else here. Here's a cheat sheet for weights. Cubic foot on balsa wood. If you don't want to get the calculator out, do the math. It'll have the grams. Here's some tune pipe stuff. It's different baffle dimensions.
Do you have any mandrels for tune pipes?
No, I don't. And I never made any tune pipes. I was just experimenting and playing with the resins. I never actually made them. Yeah. Back in the day, we had the Thomas Register. Before we had Google and computers, you had to go to the library, and the Thomas Register was an encyclopedia version of all the different manufacturers of all the different materials, and that's how we gained. That's how we found all our supplies. It was actually physically going through catalogs and on the phone.
I'll tell you what, if you're going to do any carbon fiber stuff, now's the time. Seeing Bob McDonald's out of commission.
Yeah, what happened to Bob? He
Spinal surgery. He was cut from the back of his neck all the way down to his tailbone.
okay. I guess he's
Spine out and glued it together and put it back in.
no, it's pretty major then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somebody said I remember it was a hangout. I think they said he's doing okay though. I mean, he's coming along.
Yeah, we might see him at the Nats, but he's not going to fly.
Let's hope he does all right. I know he is making a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to see what I can sand this this Bondo with.
80 grit.
80 grit.
Yeah. Get it knocked down with 80. That way, shape it with 80, then switch over to 120, and then down to 220.
Well, I got to be careful. I don't want to sand in my actual fuselage. You got to stay away from the primer. So I got my 80 here.
Put some tape on it. Or you could be like Bad Chad, put a gallon of primer on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. 10 gallons of primer, 4 gallons of paint. You got your Carl Casper's custom car show paint job.
Get out one of my trusty sanding blocks
We need to go up there and teach him how to mold a windshield.
They're going to teach
I sort of
The
chuckled.
Air Force.
What's his girlfriend's name? Jolene.
What's happened
Yeah.
to your microphone,
What's
Dan?
what?
We can hardly hear you.
I know it happened before.
I might not even paint these fillets, just leave them blue.
Say Steve's getting a pretty good deal on that deal.
Well, he made it right with me.
You know, a whole brand new arc, probably $250.
Yeah, but it'd be brand new. Now this is an old airplane. This is a used airplane.
It's seasoned. Had the new wore off of it.
I think it's going to be okay though. Don't see why not.
If nothing else, it's in a bag pre-arranged for crash pickup.
You're right. Ready for the crash.
Already in the bag. Huh? That's funny. I remember going to the RC field back in the day. They used to have a 55-gallon trash drum out there. You know, for everybody's fuel soap rags and stuff. You know, every
You're
week.
gonna have to fix your mic, Dan. We can't hear you.
Okay.
You might have to log out and log back in. I don't know.
I'll just quit talking.
No, we want you to talk, but you're gonna have to fix the mic. You sound like you're talking in the bottom of a barrel.
You got a camera or are you using a phone?
I got my phone. Now, do I sound better?
No. Something's blocking your microphone.
Yeah, I think my phone heats up.
You need to do like John did. Drag your computer down there and get yourself a cheap camera.
Yeah. I mean, cheap, $70. That's
Yeah,
probably pretty cheap for cameras, but
then he's used to camera prices. Thousands of dollars for a lens.
yeah. But for what it is, I mean, it seems to work pretty good, and it was pretty easy to hook up and everything.
Yeah, just plug it in.
I'm about as computer illiterate as they come, and I was able to do it.
Plug it in. Logitech makes good stuff.
Aren't they a big computer supply warehouse?
Yeah, they do keyboards and mice and all that shit, all the peripherals.
I think they do all the components and everything too, because you can buy everything from them. You can buy all the parts and pieces individually. I had a Logitech catalog here at one time, and I bought I was going to put retracts on an airplane, and I bought all the electronic parts and pieces that worked off sound. You'd hear the motor running. Once it started hearing the motor running, it'd give you you could set a timer on it. It'd give you 30 seconds or a minute or whatever. And then the landing gear would go up. And as soon as the engine quit, it makes the landing gear go down.
That's Suntronics, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they used it for a while, but it wasn't very reliable. So, I mean, they quit doing that, and they got it built into the timers for the electric things now. But that was before all that stuff. You know, we didn't have electric planes back then. You know, they didn't even think of using a cheap RC system and just using one of the channels for retracts or something, which would have been easier. Let's see, what do we got going on? That is 8 for that.
I was waiting for somebody last night to chime in. You can't do that like I did with the battery. You can't mount it.
Yeah. We'll see. Nothing hard about all this stuff.
Well, that's interesting. It's on there, so it's gotta be okay.
Let's see here. I'm off looking in the wood pile.
I tried to use the approved method of battery hold down with their straps, Velcro straps, but the idiots at the Velcro factory put the Velcro on the wrong side. I tried all kind of ways. There's no way to it would match. The hook and loop would match. So now these fillets may or may not crack out of there. It doesn't much matter. It only needs to last the season. So. Well, your sanding's coming through loud and clear, Dan. Try talking.
Yeah, I had to go to 80 grit.
Your voice is still screwed up. Oh, just lift up a little bit here. And wait for it to dry. Just a little. For you guys mixing with superfill, never cross-contaminate this stuff because your whole can will go away. So I just use this stick. Damn. Ah, shit. I just use this stick in the white, which is the hardener. Even if you wipe it off completely, don't put it in the blue.
It'll still set it off.
Yeah, that's probably the best advice right there. With epoxy, polyester, ain't it?
So I've wiped this stick off and it's clean. Never stick that in the blue. Have one stick for one color and one stick for another color. See, this is a blue stick here, and I've wiped it off. Man, don't stick it in the white.
Hey, Sparky,
Yeah,
see this picture?
there you go. Now you got your voice back.
See
Yeah.
how light this? See how light this airplane is? I can hold it with one finger.
Yeah.
That's how light it is. Just pick it up by the nose, one finger.
All right, put it on the scale. I know how strong your hands are.
I'll tell you what, let's do that. Let's just see where I'm at.
With or without the flaps on it?
Well, I can put everything. I got flaps and elevator and, of course, the cowls on it.
You're at 26 ounces with the flaps.
Let me get my scale out.
21 without.
I'll go over there and get my good scale. It goes to 30 pounds.
Yeah, you'll need it. After the paint gets on it, you'll need it.
You might be surprised, Sparky.
Yeah, I will be.
Let's see. We'll get my scale out here. We're gonna get some hard facts here.
The range is between 21 and 26. $11 and Steve ain't here. He hadn't even messaged me that he's on his way. So you're right. He's sitting at home waiting for me to get this done. Give us the poundage, Dan.
Hold on a minute. Got to get the scale set up on the table.
Get it set up.
The scale, it's got a bubble level in it.
You getting it set up for tonnage?
Yeah. I don't know if you can see it or not. See that bubble level right here?
Yeah, let's make you big.
That's that'll let you know that the scale's level. I need all the advantage I can get. Okay. Got it zeroed out for ounces.
For tons, okay. Shit. Ah, damn.
The other thing, it's got a tear weight. I can set something on there like that. Zero it out. Now I got extra lead outs here.
Oh yeah, that's a big deal.
How much you think it weighs right now?
Flaps on or off?
No flap, no elevator.
It's in the 20s.
$31.
Hold, really?
31. Let's see.
Oh man.
Here's my rudder.
Get it all on there.
Let's see. This is my rudder. This doesn't go.
That can't be right. 31.
Okay, here's the landing gear. So I got my flaps, elevator, rudder, landing gear. Right now we're up to 35.
70 ounces.
35. The canopy. Pilot. $36.2 right now.
Okay. What engine you gonna put in it?
Tiger 60.
Okay, so you get. Let me get my hands clean of this stuff here. It's gonna be 70 ounces. That's heavy. 31. Holy shit.
That's a lot of plane though.
Is it 700 squares?
Yeah, 680, 700. Yeah, whatever that Blue Max is.
You're gonna have 20 ounces of hardware: tank, engine, spinner, prop, tip weight. Now, so how much does that weigh there now?
36.2.
So that's 56. How much paint are you gonna put on this thing?
Enough to get it to 70. So if I shoot for 70, I can get a good paint job on
Oh, it'd be beautiful.
it. So you're saying 20 ounces of hardware, engine, spinner.
Yeah, that's a rough guess. That's what I figure when I do these.
Pretty close.
Okay, so 20 ounces, that would be 56 ounces.
With no paint.
No paint, but it's ready for paint now. It's ready for the white. So what are your normal paint jobs on your quart when you go with the light paint jobs? What are you looking for? 6 or 7 ounces?
6 ounces total. That includes the substrate.
Okay,
So you're past that because you got all that primer on there.
right. 3, 6, and 20. 56.2. Let's just say I lay 8 ounces on this thing. So it'd be 64.2 ounces.
Now I add in the mystery ounces.
Yeah, throw another 2. So if I come out at 60, if I come out at
66, 65.
yeah, 65, I was shooting, honestly, I was shooting for 65 on a plane this size. 66, no better than I fly, it'd be fine. But you know, yeah, I mean that's where I'm at. I could probably sand a little bit more primer off, but you know how that goes. You can sand, sand, sand,
You ain't
and
getting
nothing
shit off.
happens. I mean, once you get that stuff on there,
There's Steve. He's coming.
Yeah, you can sand off all that stuff on the outside you want, but it sinks in.
yeah, yeah.
Get that out of it.
So this airplane, it had pretty light wood.
What
It's-
kind of primer did you use on there?
Well, heck, John, this is the one we were in your garage putting the silk span on. So you saw it at the, the raw stage.
Yeah, but what kind of primer did you use on it?
Oh, I used 2K. I mean, it was catalyzed primer. It was like lacquer primer that was catalyzed.
No,
So,
no.
oh yeah, that's what's on here. Catalyzed lacquer primer. In other words, if you take thinner right now and try to rub this primer, you couldn't get it off.
Right. Okay. Now listen to what you said. Catalyzed lacquer. Lacquer gases off, and anything that's catalyzed, whatever sprays on stays on. So
It's a hybrid. It's a hybrid between the two.
Yeah.
There's a lot of solvents in there. It's strange. I've never used it before. I'll show you what it is. But it goes on like regular lacquer primer, and there's something in it that evaporates, but it also cures. So this is
urethane then.
this is what it is right here.
yeah, it's Omni. Yeah, I've used it.
Okay, yeah.
Motorcycle.
See that?
Yeah. Yep.
So it's liquid lead.
Right. Exactly right. I still
Now, if
got
I could get,
I still got that can of primer that I handed you that one time.
I know about broke my arm. So, yeah, with liquid lead on it, and I'm looking for a shiny finish.
Oh, it'll be shiny, I'm sure.
I'm going to block sand this thing with 2000 grit and buff it.
It'll
So,
be pro, I'm sure of that.
so yeah, I can't fly good enough to worry about it.
You could if you had a light airplane.
Yeah. So back in the early 90s, I think I spent $500 for this scale, $400. This scale, it's got the metal plate, and the reason I bought it is to actually do big castings for molds. So I needed something, if I'm mixing up gallons of casting, I needed something to go to 30 pounds. So this scale, it's sort of neat. I got it weighted down, but anyway, you zero it.
You had to have that to weigh your airplanes back then.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I had to have something pretty substantial. But it goes from, I don't know if you can see it on the, turn it on. It goes kilograms, grams, ounces. So it's ounces. It'll go in grams in half a gram increments. So it rounds up or down on a half gram. So if it's 5.6 grams, it's going to read 6 grams, but it's good enough when you're doing real heavy stuff mixing. So it goes from grams, and then it goes from pounds, kilograms, and then ounces. and it's got a tear weight. You can zero it.
If you guys have never seen Dan's work, he does a spectacular job. Really, really nice. They look great. Go on his channel and look at some of those old airplanes.
Yeah, they look good, but you know, you're right about being too heavy, and I'm not going to lie about it. And that's one of the things when I started looking at Billy's stuff and these top flyers. Number one, I was baffled at how pretty their stuff was. And once I figured out how to make an airplane pretty, I was twice as baffled on how they got it so light and so pretty. And then I really started scratching my head on some of this stuff. It's like, wow. But you know, Sparky, all the stuff that you've picked up over the years and I've picked up, it's just like a melting pot of all the modelers we've been involved with,
Right.
So
Always said I'm biggest thief in the world, intellectual thief.
yeah. Yeah.
Let's see what John's doing. John's sanding motor mounts.
Yeah, I'm gluing in filler pieces.
I got my top fillets in. I'll show you that. Yeah, let's see here. Those fillets don't look bad. Add a lot of strength. I'll just take the tape them off and spray them silver, and that's it.
Good enough for
I'm mute you, Dan. That standing is ridiculous.
Okay, mute me.
Okay, he's muted.
It's good enough for an ARP. Ain't gonna hurt anything.
Well, they were saying it's BOM legal now. Yeah, it probably is for me.
For you, not for Steve.
Right. It'll be fine.
But I don't think there's not a boom thing for ARFs. I mean, if they have an ARF category.
Well, this airplane last year won the best ARF at the Nats.
At ProDeck.
No, at the Nats. This
I
was
thought
the
it
best.
won that at ProDeck.
No, he didn't go to Brodeck. This was the best ARF at the Nats in its prior form. Best Brodeck ARF at the Nats. And now it's a hybrid.
What do they use for judging criteria on that?
Shit, I don't know. Pilot's choice, I think.
It'd have to be. They're all the same coming out of the damn box. How do you judge one from another? Little Chinese girl put one together better than the other one.
I don't know. We can ask Steve here in a minute. He'll be here.
It's whoever has the less hanger rash.
Probably.
Yeah, I could see that one.
He flew the heck out of this airplane.
Well, maybe he'll get to be able to fly the heck out of it some more then.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it looks good. Right now might look too good. He'll be afraid of his bottoms now.
No, it better not be. Just thrash it. Well, he's. I think he's only intermediate. It's what I think. I'll have to ask him when he gets there if he's advanced or intermediate.
Yeah.
He
Hey,
flies.
John. Hey,
What's
John,
that?
you're talking about being afraid of your bottoms.
Yep.
When I showed up with a shiny airplane, Gary Hayjack and Ron O'Toole says it's too shiny. I said, "What do you mean?" They said your bottoms just went up 3 feet.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I know what they're talking about. It's true. It is absolutely true. I gotta get down here more often. All my bottles of glue. I just threw away 4 bottles of super glue.
That's when you know you're not building enough, John.
Yep, that's exactly right.
Since I quit and came back from Dayton, I'll tell you how many bottles of glue I went through. Because I got them up here on the shelf. And I have gone through. Now these are 2-ounce bottles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bottles. That's 10 ounces.
Evening. Ten ounces of glue.
Yep.
Probably more than 10 ounces of glue.
Yeah, because I threw away that pint that I had. The pint was down to the last little bit. The big bottle.
Yeah.
Because I had refilled one. So maybe 12 ounces of glue. That's a lot of glue.
Yeah, that was that TP10 stuff.
Yeah. Seeing that since I've been back, I have built, let me see here, 2 Vipers, a Profile, this airplane, and a 3rd Viper. It's almost ready to go. Is that right? No, it can't be right because that's 4 airplanes. That would be 8 ounces of glue. I don't know. I've done some other stuff.
Probably pretty close to being pretty accurate. Ah, shit. Freaking epoxy's starting to get hard in the bottles. How's it doing that?
Microwave.
It's crystallizing.
Microwave.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Be forewarned, it's hot when it comes out of there.
Yeah.
That one guy wanted to sue me one time for the epoxylite trick. He took it out of the microwave and burned himself and wanted to sue me. Duh, what do you think is going to happen when it comes out of the microwave?
It also works on honey. I was going to put honey on my toast and it was crystallized. But better watch it because you put it in there 5, 10, 15 seconds. If you don't watch it every couple seconds, it'll cook off so quick. Something about the sugar in it. Well, some of this resin, a buddy of mine gave me about a half gallon of his Epon 826 or something. It wasn't 828. It was one of these industrial resins. It was crystallized. I brought it over and put it in my hot box for about 95 to 100 degrees. Set it in here for about a week and it's perfect now. So if you ever get epoxy, you can microwave it, but if you have if you have a hot box and composites or something, if you get it up to about 95 or 100, let it sit there for a couple of days, it'll come back.
Your microphone's screwed up again.
Yeah, something's wrong with the phone.
Is that an Apple?
No, it's an Android.
There's the problem. Okay, so we got that done. Huh? Need to smooth it out. It'll be ready to smooth here in a second. Spectre Mini V. Well.
Yeah, 12 seconds in the microwave made that stuff like water.
Yeah. Hot too, isn't it?
Well, I haven't poured none out yet, so.
It'll steam when it comes out of there.
They probably make it gas off. I'm using 30-minute epoxy.
Yeah, it'll double the dry time, so be quick on the stick. Now, if you let it cool off again completely, it won't, you know.
Right.
But if you get it when it's hot and mix it together, it'll kick twice as fast.
It's funny how the hardener didn't do that. It's the resin that got thick.
Now, you can also do that with superfill, but make sure you take the lid off.
Oh yeah. I need that explosion. I've heated it up before, but normally I warmed it with a hot air gun. You know why? After it already been applied to something, and then brushed it out and wiped it off to make it run and soak into the wood and all that kind of stuff. I like the aspect of it soaking into the wood some to add strength.
Nothing else, Steve could take his batteries home and charge them up. I should be able to complete this today. I mean,
How much more wiring and stuff you got to do on that thing?
nothing.
Did you figure out how you're going to mount the ESC and all that stuff inside of it?
Yeah. I made a little, I'll show you. Because I'm kind of proud of the innards of it. You know, I see all these electric airplanes. They're always a hodgepodge of bullshit inside there. Stuff that just ain't right. Okay, looking down in the nose. Let me make me big here. So we got one screw to take the cowl off. It takes two 440s or 3/32 screws to get the battery out. You take that out. I got one screw right here holding this tab on. It's got a stop on it so it won't mash the battery, but it keys into this right here and into a little piece on the side of the fuselage to hold that down. Then you undo the battery, pull it out. In the bottom there's a little standoff for the ESC it's zip tied to, so it's right in the airflow.
Yeah.
Then along here, this wire for the start button is in a channel. It goes down to the timer. which is epoxied to a little standoff with the 2 dots, one on each corner. In order to change the settings on it, you just leave it in there and you just pull this off and you're ready to go. That way you ain't got a whole lot of crap floating around inside there.
That's good.
And that took some thought to get it done like that.
Well, half the battle is, like you say, organizing all that stuff. What was the problem with the engine not turning over the other day?
The screws were too long. The screws, they sold them, they were bottoming out on something in there.
That could have been pretty catastrophic then.
Yeah, it could have been. So I cut, I don't know, 3/16 off the end of them.
How's my sound, Sparky?
Your sound is terrible.
I feel like you. I haven't moved 1 inch. I can't find my ball driver. I lost it.
So typical.
Well, what gets me is now I can see 3 right at hand. I got 1 in hand. There's 1 right here and 1 over there. But if I was looking for them, they'd be gone.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
yeah.
got 10 of them around here.
Pretty typical.
I get these flaps and shit glued on today. I'd like for this to go bye-bye today. It would be nice.
Yeah, well, he'll get it. How's he for plane storage and stuff like that at his place?
I don't know. He needs to take a bunch of mine over his house.
Does he live in a house or an apartment or?
He lives in a house. There we go. We get to see what the back of Danny's head looks like.
Hey, gotta cut this cowl off. So I used the tape, which is good, but it's still a little sticky.
Don't listen to me. If you used Saran wrap, it'd just peeled right off.
Hey, Sparky,
Hey, what?
I'm gonna jump off here in about a minute. I got a 2-year-old granddaughter's birthday party gotta go to.
Okay. We need to get you some better equipment so we can hear you. Don't sound like you're talking in the bottom of an oil can, but
Yeah, I'll get something. Get a remote mic.
need a laptop.
Yeah, I got one.
Get a Logitech 720 camera.
Logitech 720.
Yeah, make sure you get an extension cord too so you can move it around. That's John's problem. Get a 15-foot USB extension.
I'm going down to Robert's camera here probably in the next week. Look at something I can stream with.
And you don't need the best. All you need is a Logitech 720 because they ain't no difference. Don't let them talk you into a Minolta or a Canon or what. You don't need that shit. It's not taking pictures.
Right.
A $10 camera will do just the same as the $70 camera.
If you go online and look it up, these little cameras, the one Sparky's talking about, is ranked pretty high.
Yeah. Yeah. Go check them out. They come a long way.
I got two of them running here. You can get the Logitech software so you can do 2 views. See, I just switched between views there. And
Okay.
now if you use OBS, you can have 5 cameras or whatever. You can even attach your phone as a camera.
So OBS is an open format, right?
Open broadcasting software, correct? But you don't need OBS.
Okay.
Looks like I got a new personal message. Let's see what it says here. Personal message. I'm a Chilean modeler for many years. RC would like to get onto or Zoom since I fly control line. My dad and I was a small kid stunt control. I have seen many building videos from you. First, I would like to confirm that I am addressing the right person. Okay, Steve's here. Let me go down and let him in. Don't get off of here till you say hi to him.
Okay.
Who's got to see the cat on the way out?
Talking to me, John?
Yeah. Sparky's got to pet the cat on the way out.
Oh.
Yeah, all my epoxy bottles were all plugged up on the ends, and they're getting crystallized. Threw away 4 bottles of super glue that hardened up in bottles.
Ready to go. We're streaming with John and Dan.
All right.
That's when you know you're not building enough, John.
That's right. That's right. I could go a little longer without building. Right here, this airplane's ready for some covering on the fuselage and stuff and go into finishing. So I could literally stay away from building for a while. But
All right. You can say hello over here.
Is that Steve? Hi,
Hey,
Steve.
John.
hey, Steve,
How you doing?
doing good, and yourself?
I'm good.
That's good. How do you like that new airplane you got there?
It's beautiful. I can't
Came
wait.
out pretty nice.
He brought me some RSM propellers, 10.6 propellers. Put them in your drawer. All your batteries and stuff are over there. They're finished.
All right.
RSM, they're different than Brodeck propellers.
Yeah, they look like spoons anyway.
And
They
then
the paddle blades.
Yeah, then he's got a zinger.
that's a 10.6. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody claimed those were better than the Brodeck props.
We'll drill a hole, 5/16 hole there, and get it ready to go. So, but we'll try
Needs to
that
be
one
bigger.
first. Yeah,
Oh.
that's quarter.
Oh, okay. Well, this one's brand new. Has never been used.
Whatever. You can save that. Maybe you can sell it to somebody.
Okay.
You know, get some APCs.
Yeah. Or a badass or two.
Yeah, get a badass propeller, whatever. Okay, so I'll turn the light on here for you.
All right.
All right. I wanted to show you. I hope this is okay for your. I already showed the guys here, but I'll show you the electric system that I got.
Okay.
What are you gluing on there? Your plywood doublers, Dan?
Remember, I told you I do things different.
Yeah, I peeled one off.
Yeah, that happens. I
332 ball driver,
had
right?
mine on.
Take 2 screws to get it out. This screw here. And this screw here. And you take that out. It keys into a slot right here.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to draw a line here and glue a piece on it so the battery can't slide that way, but
Oh, okay.
but
That's a good
we
idea.
don't need to anyway. Then this unplugs and take the battery out. Now the ESC's down there. There's holes in the bottom of that so it gets air, and there's a hole in the bottom of this so it gets air,
Yeah.
and then it comes out there. So it is getting it at the back instead of the front, but whatever.
Okay.
Then this runs along this way. This does not come out. It's glued to that block.
Yeah, this comes off,
Right. And then you
and then
can,
I can put the programmer on.
right, but it does not come out of there. So, I mean, when you want to take it out, we're going to have to break it out.
Okay. I don't know why I would need to, but okay. Once it fails.
And then there's a thing with holes in it here to keep this side of the battery cool. Air goes in there, air comes out there, air, you know what I mean?
Oh, cool. Okay.
You know, I was waiting for somebody on the hangout. You can't do it that way.
Yeah. Nobody did that, huh?
No. I'm doing the Phillips today.
I see. Yeah. That's nice.
They
You
look
able to?
better when they're painted. They're all
Gary used to have a little battery operated fan that he sat down in front of his airplane after he got done flying to help sort of keep that stuff cool.
Just turning, what's up?
the correct way. It's a puller.
Puller. Not a,
Tractor.
it's a tractor, not a puller, right?
Tractor, not a pusher.
Right.
Yeah. And the wires are white to black, or white to
Yeah, I always thought that they told me the color code was same to same for regular rotation and flip one for reverse.
yeah. Well, guess what? They lied. And I kind of had a feeling that was going to happen. That's why I wanted to get it all set up and tested here, and I'll show you that we're right.
All right. Definitely got more room than it had before. Of course, it's a narrower battery.
Well, even if you had to, you could get the wider battery in there, but
He must be sanding on something.
he's sanding his air wagon.
Oh, both those bolts are the same.
Yeah. 440 half inch. So, let me put that on, put this on. Let's see, where's the arming plug? It should be down there,
There's two of them here.
right?
You get rid of all the metric stuff on that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on there.
There you go. Oh, you put fillets back here too.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
now, we were talking. Didn't this airplane win best ARP at the Nats?
It did. It did. Best Brodak ARP.
I don't understand why that thing's. Oh, it's not lined up right. That's why.
Ah.
You don't want to cross thread that.
Wow.
The fuck.
Oh, I bet the wires are a little bit.
There it is.
Thinner on it.
carbon fiber spinner.
Wow.
Theoretically, you should be able to just plug this in and push the button and fly it without doing anything.
Okay, yeah, I can feel it. Well, I don't know what the timer set to.
Set to 6 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, well, I don't think I want to do a 6-minute flight first time.
Okay, well, whatever.
I want to
Supposed
do
to be 65 tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I'm got not
Still
gonna,
windy here though.
give me one of them back. I have both.
Can't have both. What if I lose it?
You have to make another one. I was explaining how to make them. You take one of these 316 wide, 1/8 thick brass plate, you solder to it, then you dip it in plasti dip.
Huh.
You have to get some plasti dip. I'm out of it.
So you have to solder the two pieces together, right?
Right.
You put across there? Or
Yeah,
in between?
bar. Yeah, put a bar across there.
Bar.
3/16 wide by 16 thick by 1/2 inch long. Solder it on there like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
Oh, like that on the end.
Right.
Okay.
And then dip it in plasti dip. And that's what you get.
That's what you get. Okay.
But you need like 3 or 4 dips. So you have to buy some plasti dip if you want to make another plug.
Okay.
Yeah, what the hell? You can have it.
You're not going to use it. I will be careful. And I haven't lost any yet.
Yeah, well, those seem to disappear pretty quick, them little ones.
Yeah. Yeah, it is easier to use.
Here.
Because,
It turned out 53 ounces.
okay.
Add the fillets. I don't know what it's going to add. Shouldn't be
Not a whole lot.
too much. We'll do the,
Yeah, I showed Christy, on the video. I stopped the video so she could see it. She thought it was amazing, really nice. She thought it looked better than it did before too.
well, it definitely looked better than it did before. But
Yeah. So she was impressed.
but it's got things on that I don't like that bump right there. That's the motor mount right there.
Yeah.
But there ain't nothing you can do about it.
No.
What do you expect?
Oh, I didn't expect this much. These glued on?
No, not yet.
Yeah, I wanted to watch how you do that.
Yeah, well, we'll be doing that here shortly. Move that yellow or that blue can there.
Move the blue can.
We'll be doing that here shortly.
All right, that's standing.
All right, Steve's off to sand. Sand and dope. You need to mix up some more paint or what?
Yes, I will. Yeah, looks like it.
Steve has already committed to cardinal sin.
What's that?
You're a 1/2 quart over your allotted budget.
Oh.
70 ounces.
That's right.
No. Losing the other battery.
It's hard to do, Steve, so don't feel bad. It's really, really hard to keep on the diet.
Yeah.
If you go over, Steve, don't worry. Just relish in it.
You'll join the club of Dan.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Okay, good.
You'll be putting that big motor back in that airplane.
I don't know what motor are you going to put in that crossbar, Steve?
This one right here.
No.
It's a badass 3515.
What, is there a motor in there?
Yeah.
I didn't even know you had it. Did you just bring this over today?
No, I got this a while ago.
Oh. That's a big boy.
That's the one they're all using.
Okay. Oh, I want to finish reading that email for you guys. Let's see what he says.
What do you got in the Vector? 28 something?
I don't know.
Yeah, 2820.
Yeah.
He had a big Axie in it.
Yeah, I had a 2826 AXI in it. That's what I got from Walt Brownell.
They're sort of pricey motors, aren't they?
Yeah, those are pricey. I didn't buy any more. They're like $100 or more.
I was using Turnities. You can get 4 of those things for $100.
That's what that motor is right there, Steve. That's a Turnigy on the front of my prop
Oh, on
dyno.
your prop? Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think they're about $20. And they're probably every bit as good as that other one.
Yeah, probably.
You know what they found out? What we sort of found out about them here was they last about a year. But if you take them apart and put brand new good bearings in them,
Yeah.
they go on. They'll last longer.
I got a set of bearings for the ASI. Take it out of the. I got it in a Blue Angel that I got from Walt, and rear mounted though. It's kind of hard to get it back in, but maybe I should replace the bearings. That'd be all right for another time.
Okay, here we go. I'm going to read this email to you guys. It's my name is Christian Patrickson. I have been a Chilean modeler for many years. Fly RC gliders. I would like to get into or resume, since I used to fly control line with my dad when I was a small kid, stunt control line flying. I have seen many building videos from you on YouTube. I would like to confirm that I am addressing the right person, so I ask you if you would be willing to provide me with some building advices. Thanks in advance. Regards. Yeah, you're talking to the right guy. Okay. I am the right guy. I am guy and would be happy to help. H-E-L-P. There we go. There you go. Maybe I ought to put a humor section in here because there's got to be about 10 million humor things on here.
You gonna put a what in there?
Bob Zambelli, a song about morons attempting to run the country. I can't play it or else I'll get a strike.
Truth hurts that bad, eh?
Well, if you wanna offend a liberal, if you want to offend a conservative, you lie to them. If you want to offend a liberal, you tell them the truth. Pat Edwards. I think it's that same guy. No, Pat Christian Patrick. get those super chats in, would you guys? We're trying to it's the beginning of the month. It's the second day of the month. We got $20 for the month.
Something.
Yeah. Flatter probably. Just put some dope on it.
Yeah. This is 2 coats.
There's your can of clear. That's colored. There it is, clear. We'll get you going. Need a gallon of white when we go to Wicks.
Okay.
Gallon of white and another gallon of thinner. Use 2 gallons of thinner per gallon of paint.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how that works.
Ching,
What's the-
ching, ching, ching. That's how that works.
What's a gallon of white go for now, Sparky?
$80.
That's not bad.
So this is how much over Steve is gonna be right here on his diet.
Unthinned.
Yeah, unthinned.
So he's a quart over.
Yep. Yep, quart over.
Have you weighed all the parts up for the crossfire to see try to see what it's going to be?
Nope, I'm letting him do his thing. Yeah. And we went to another gallon.
He's still using tinted clear?
Yeah, he ain't even got to the fuselage. He's working on wings and stabilizers.
Oh, okay.
Let me hold it. Oh,
Not worry about it. Yeah. So now, this is all you're getting. That's the full quart for just substrate. So when it gets down to here, let's say to here, add more thinner, fill it back up.
okay.
Hey, Steve,
Yeah.
if you run out of paint, don't ask Sparky. I'll bring you some so he won't know about it.
See, that was the problem that you had. You weren't adding thinner. I should have told you. Keep adding.
Oh, okay.
I can't pay attention to everything.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna make mistakes.
Yeah. Oh, I unscrewed that cap. Did you tighten it back up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw what you did.
Take the trash out today.
Is that crossfire going to be electric?
Yeah.
That'll be nice.
My Crossfire is going to have a Super Tiger 60 in it.
Well, that's what this one's gonna have. But
Oh, you building a crossbar?
Yeah, I got the
no,
latest.
this thing is a Casminato Blue Max from like 1994 or something like that.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And when he says 94, that's when it was started.
Yeah, that's when I cut the first piece of wood.
So you're slower than I am.
Oh yeah, I've got everybody beat.
That airplane's 20 years old. It's well seasoned.
Yeah.
Okay, Spark, I better jump off here. I gotta get dressed and go to the 2-year-old, my granddaughter's birthday party. So,
Oh, there you go. Don't eat too much cake.
oh, I know they didn't give her any sugar the first birthday, so I think they're gonna cut loose on her this second one. So
Oh, boy.
they'll get her cranked up.
Yeah, you have a bouncing off the walls.
Yeah, she'll be bouncing off the wall, and we'll be leaving.
Yeah. That's,
So
There you go.
that's a good thing about grandchildren.
that's right. Well, I sure enjoyed hanging out with you guys today.
That's great.
And like they say, a good cow fit is never achieved. It's just abandoned like a finish.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
it's close enough.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see you guys.
Take
All
care.
righty.
Had a good time.
See ya. All right. You need to turn the camera, John, so you're more in frame.
Yeah, so to speak, Matt.
There you go. Now sit in the same spot. Don't move.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get up. I've got some more milling to do. I gotta finish up these motor mounts. I'm waiting for this epoxy to cure a little bit because I don't want it to load up my milling bits. With, rubbery epoxy.
That's good for him.
Oh yeah. Well, it's not good for my pocketbook when you got to go out there and spend another $55 for another bit.
Are you still using wood bits?
Oh, I use them all the time.
Yeah.
Use them on metal. Use them on aluminum. I haven't tried too many of them on steel, but you got to realize, that's a piece of carbide on there. If you buy carbide bits, not the high speed steel bits.
I got some up bits and some down bits, straight flute.
Yeah.
That would probably work good in the mill.
Oh yeah.
They work good in the router table. It's just that they, I can't really hold it real tight.
Well, the biggest thing, the up bits and all the down bits, that's great depending on if you got what kind of milling you're doing. If you're milling a pocket, it's got a bottom in it that, an upcut bit works for that real good. It's also good, the down bits for doing wood so you don't leave as many burrs and that kind of stuff sticking up on the outside. All that stuff's good. Where'd you get your bits from?
I bought them at Lowe's.
You found upcut bits and that kind of stuff at Lowe's?
Yeah.
Wow.
They're not cheap though. Whatever.
No,
I got my router table set up just to do motor mounts out in the garage. That's all it does.
That's all it's good for now. Yeah, that's
Once it's set, I'm not going to move it. It's kind of like that little table saw that I got. The only thing it does is cut pockets for hinges.
yeah, well, that's mine's the same way. It's a $45 pocket hinge cutter.
I got an email from a guy. I think I might have deleted it, but the gist of the email was, I watched your video and my flaps warped using the rod method. I'm going to try your method now. Okay, good.
His flaps warped using the rod. Oh, you mean tapering them with the rods?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're more prone to warping if you do that because they're thinner.
Yep.
I mean, you got to really watch out what's going on. It's as you finish them, don't get uneven finish on them, and you know you can't have 5 coats on one side and 6 on the other. That's a recipe for warping.
You know, we were talking about finish, you know, and all that. My airplane doesn't, you know, it doesn't have that plastic look, but it's you know, relatively shiny, and it's 52 ounces. There's a big difference between 70 and 52. Huge.
Well, you put you a couple coats of spray shine on there, you can hit that 70 real easy.
Yeah, it looked like a jewel too.
Oh yeah, 1/2 inch thick finish on it.
Yeah. Now that airplane, the blue airplane on the wall there, the Viper on the wall, the blue one, I haven't done the rubbing yet, but I'll spend a month just before the Nats rubbing. It depends. It's either going to be that one or the checkerboard one to see which one flies the best. The one that flies the best will get the most rubbing.
Right. You know, the dope finish, you can get that thick look with a dope finish if you
Put dope on.
put a gallon of clear on it
Yeah. Kenny does it.
and thicken it up. It's I don't know what kind of a price do you want to pay?
When he said that he used a gallon of clear on that airplane, I can't fathom a gallon of clear. Holy balls.
That's unthinned too, you know, so he's used 2 or 3 gallons of thinner on it.
Yeah, Kenny Stevens on his yellow clear
Yeah,
airplane, it's a gallon of clear on that.
unthinned.
Unthinned.
He doesn't thin it at all.
Oh, he thins it, but
Oh, before.
so it's 2
okay.
gallons of paint on
2
there.
gallons, yeah. 'Cause of the
Yeah,
thinner.
or more. You know how
Yeah.
much thinner he puts in it, but it's got a lot of paint on it. In
Yeah.
other words, you know, if you take your paint and thin it 50-50 and you put on 50 coats of it, it's still the same as 25 coats of unthinned. You're still putting that paint on there.
Yeah.
It only gases off so much. You know, it only, I don't know what to say about it. It's each their own. I like a nice finish, a nice, good looking finish, shiny. And you can buff on dope. It doesn't have to be clear. You can buff on the color dope and make it shine. I mean, it's the same thing as clear. It's just got color pigment in it. Same stuff. But by putting the clear on it, you get that depth. You get that baby grand piano look where it looks a 1/2 inch thick on the surface. That's normally what it is, 1/2 inch thick on the surface.
I don't know how many mil it is, but it's pretty thick. This paint is on thin. I mean, you can. There's no
Yeah,
paint.
but isn't that the one that you put an extra
Yes,
half quart on it?
yes, it has an extra. It could have been lighter. It's 52, but I ended up using an extra quart of paint, so it could have been lighter. But
And
would it make any difference?
I don't know.
This airplane, like I say, is 52 ounces. It we don't have any. $740 squares or whatever the heck it is. Whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's a big wing. this camera.
Well, you get these guys and they want to, I don't know.
But it's shiny. I mean, and it, like I say, it has some little, looks like acne on it. I don't know, like solvent pop or something in some spots. That I could, huh?
May have been. We still haven't never figured out what caused the freckles on the other airplane.
You mean the paint to come off? The
No little dots all over it.
little dots all over it.
Yeah,
air-
it's all over the tail end of it and everything.
Oh, you're talking about the Junar,
Yeah,
the one we refinished.
yeah.
I think, man, there's dust on this thing. I think what happened with that airplane is I have a guy who lives across the street that works for Clorox, and he gives me a scent that goes into some product, and we mix it 50-50 with water and spray it around the house. I think that's what got it contaminated it. If I had to guess.
That airplane you finished here though, didn't you?
The Junar was the one Jerry poked a hole in the wing. We repaired the wing.
Yeah.
And then I just fixed it for the season in the orange. And then it started pockmarking from sitting on the wall. We stripped that airplane and painted it white, and it hasn't come back, those pockmarks. And I'm going to refinish that airplane again. I might do that before the Nats too. Now that I'm done with this project, I'm going back to what I know best, and that's I'm going to paint the profile, trim the profile. I'm going to finish up the Thunderbolt. All that needs is ink and clear. And I'm going to strip the paint off my Junar XL because that's a good flight airplane and redo that one. Then I'll get back to work on my other Viper that airplane won't see service till next year.
Right.
If then.
Well, that's a lot.
But this series on this airplane just has really killed it. I'm going to take this pinstripe here. I'm going to pinstripe this thing around the yellow. Let's see what it looks like. Or I could just lay 2 pinstripes in there like so. That would look good. Let's do that. Let's do that.
No regular pinstriping tape.
Yep. I'll heat it up after it sticks on there for a bit.
Well, it's just more stuff that's going to come off of it.
Yeah, whatever. Gotta look good the first time out.
You know how it is.
Yeah, I do. Here we go. I got 10 pairs of scissors and can't find a pair.
I gave you the ones back that were over here.
Yeah, I know. Here they are. 8 pair.
Oh boy.
What?
Tomorrow. Wind south 15 to 25. Could occasionally gust over 40. Let's go flying.
Sounds good to me.
Perfect.
Let's I'll show you what I'm doing here.
And Monday's still
We'd
windy.
be up there with the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yeah. Tuesday's still windy. All right, Wednesday, 63, winds 5 to 10. Wednesday and Thursday. Got a couple of possibilities next week.
You may get a test flight in.
Yeah.
What do you think of this? Your airplane, so let me
You're
know.
adding something else?
Yeah. I happen to find this stuff. Put these 2 stripes on it.
Oh, man.
You like it with?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay.
Wow.
Keep adding to it, Sparky. You'll have it up there 70 ounces before you know it.
It's gonna be too pretty to fly.
They're good for body.
Stir it up.
And I was trying to avoid it.
Yeah, this tape will stick better than the monocoat because it's lifting up the monocoat.
Oh, no.
We'll stick it down. Damn, put my finger in the fillet. Good enough. Good enough. Let's get the plastic off there. Shit, there's so much to do. And it ain't drying very fast.
What's that? The
The fillets.
fillets?
That's typical. Like me, I'm gonna have to go get lunch here in a minute.
Okay. We'll end the stream and I'll be back later on maybe when I get this done.
It's already after 1. Wouldn't be so bad if I wasn't a diabetic.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Got to stick to the regime.
Yeah, I do that. My brother-in-law didn't. Lost both his legs below the knee. Never controlled his blood sugar.
Yeah, well, we try to. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, but he didn't even try. He just, I don't know, kind of gave up. Same age as me.
I can see where it would. It gets old after a while. I figured I've given myself over 25,000 shots in my stomach
Yeah.
in the time, and that's not including the poking of the fingers. There's that many times plus poking of the fingers to test and all that crap, and
Yeah.
uh,
Mark Hughes got that problem too. He's got something on his arm that he just puts the phone up to it and it tells him. So he doesn't have to poke his fingers anymore.
yeah, you can get all sorts of stuff. That's pretty neat. You can also get a pump that literally you don't have to give yourself shots anymore. It monitors you all the time and gives you a shot when you need one and doesn't when you don't. And
Huh.
got alarms that go off on it and all sorts of stuff. You carry a little pump around on your side.
And it probably isn't covered by insurance.
No, I don't think that one's
Medicare.
covered by insurance or anything. The little tester thing that you just put a little sensor on your arm and leave it on there for a month. I think that's all you can do is like 28 days or something like that. You can use that little monitor on your arm. You just scan it with your phone.
Yeah.
It's pretty good, pretty nice little thing. Saves you from having to poke your fingers.
Yeah. Yeah. I imagine that's a big deal.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. I've got to check, 3 and 4 times a day.
Wow.
So I'm giving myself a shot 3 and 4 times a day and checking my blood, poking my finger 3 and 4 times a day. So, yeah, it gets old after a while.
Yeah.
But it takes. Everybody says, "Well, it doesn't take you very long." I said, "Well, yeah, it does. You got to stop what you're doing. You got to go wash up, fix everything up,
Yeah.
do the deal. Yeah, yeah, it only takes 5 minutes to give yourself a shot, but it takes, 15 minutes for all the prep and everything and the cleaning up and stuff afterwards and getting back into whatever you were doing.
Yeah.
So I figure a half an hour every time you have to give yourself a shot. Yeah. And Sparky's been on top of this stuff with me for a long time, because I sort of look after him to keep an eye on me when we're out at contests and stuff like that to make sure I'm not getting belligerent or
Yeah. You get weird.
whatever, having some kind of diabetic attack or something. I sort of taught him, how to do it and showed him my test kit and everything, giving myself shots. Yeah, it's a pain in the butt because you got all that stuff around's got to stay refrigerated.
Oh yeah.
So you got to carry around an ice box with you wherever you go, and it gets up to 90 degrees out there on the tarmac at Muncie and stuff like that. You got to keep an eye on that junk so that it's not cheap even if insurance covers it.
Right.
The sticker plane.
Yeah.
Is that what you're gonna call it? The sticker plane?
Oh, it's a mini V. Got an SV. Mini
Well, that's what all of them are. That airplane is a scaled down SV11. I think it is.
11 now.
I think that's what the Vector was a scaled down SV11.
Yeah. For a 40 size.
Yeah. And the SV11, the SV22, and the SV23 are all basically the exact same airplane.
I was wondering about that. I didn't know what the differences were. Shape of the rudder, maybe.
Yeah, the canopy, the wingtips a little bit. Outside of that, the wings and all the measurements, all the numbers are the same.
Yeah.
That's designing.
Well, I guess to a point, if you experiment with wingtip shapes and stuff like that, it could make a difference.
Yeah.
How much of a difference? I can't tell you, but it could make a difference.
So what this is the big flight street.
Yeah.
Well, it's another Nobler.
Yeah.
Yeah. And everything based on the Nobler.
Yeah, everything's a Nobler, just expanded on. Make it carve it a little bit different, make it look different. I don't know. There's a wide parameter of numbers that you can use. There's a set number that work. And you can go plus on those numbers and minus on those numbers and still work.
Yeah.
And that could be upwards of 2 inches difference, which is a lot. I'm not saying all those numbers can vary by 2 inches, but the certain numbers can vary. The length, the hinge line to hinge line thing can change. People have changed those up to 2 inches. But all the rest of the numbers, if you change it by 1/8 of an inch.
Yeah.
Okay. See if I can make it past here without tripping on it this time. There we go.
I think that's made a significant, can make a significant difference. Could. All right. Well, I'm going to get off here, guys.
All right, we're going to end the stream. I really appreciate you guys watching, and thanks for the super chat, Todd. We're only 280 away now.
All right. Talk to you later, John.
All right, see you, John.
All right. Well, you guys have a good day.
You too. All righty, we're going to go away from John here, and I'm going to finish up this project, and hopefully by the end of the day I got it done. We'll get back to painting or something constructive. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share, and we'll see you later. I'll show you this before I send it home. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.